is my TNA Slammiversary 2009 pay-per-view predictions. The pay-per-view is live tomorrow night exclusively on pay-per-view. And I gotta say, overall, for a TNA pay-per-view, this does not look like a bad card at all. Just as long as they book a lot of the matches in a good way, this could possibly be a very successful and a very good pay-per-view for TNA. And what I mean by if they book it right, where they got a lot of these matches where it's like some veterans in most of the matches, then young stars on the other side. So if they book it in a way where a lot of the young stars actually, not only do they get showcased very good, but they actually go over in the matches, that could be very good for TNA. Now, the first match will be the King of the Mountain match for the X Division Championship. Now, I'm pretty sure that this match, just like the other King of the Mountain, the rules are the same. But if they're not, just someone type in a comment saying that this X Division match right here for the X Division Championship and the King of the Mountain is different type of rules than the other King of the Mountain. Because that's the one thing I'm kind of somewhat confused with. Is it the same type of rules or it's different type of rules for the X Division one than the world title? And the people that are in this match is Suicide versus Jay Lethal versus Consequences Creed versus Alex Shelley versus Chris Sabin. And this should be very good. You got 5 good competitors in here. Well, you got 4 definitely good competitors in here, because I actually am one of the very few people that doesn't mind Consequences Creed, and I do think he is improving. Suicide, the person that's under the Suicide gimmick, is good, and it's not a terrible gimmick for TNA, but I think most people would much rather see, Cass come back and be himself and just get rid of this Suicide gimmick, or just give it to someone else. And I see in this match, I do see Suicide retaining the X Division Championship, just because pretty much it's going to be pointless if Alex Shelley or Chris Sabin wins, or Consequences Creed, or Jay Lethal, because both of them are pretty much utilized as tag team competitors right now. So kind of be pointless if they go over here. And I actually forgot one thing. Actually, before this match right here, they actually are going to be doing a live pre-show match, and the live pre-show match is going to be the British Invasion versus Rhino and Eric Young. And in this match, I expect the British Invasion to go over in this match, just because Eric Young's starting to be more of a heelish type character right now. I actually do like the direction the Eric Young character is going in. I think him being a heel, it's something different with him. I think it's going to work out overall well for him, and see British Invasion winning, just because it would be much smarter to have them go over than the match than have a thrown together team like Rhino and Eric Young go over for no reason at all. Then the next matchup will be the Christopher Daniels match, or now just named Daniels, versus Shane Douglas, and this match is a second chance match. What this means, if Shane Douglas is able to go over this match and defeat Christopher Daniels, he gets Christopher Daniels' TNA roster spot. If Christopher Daniels wins this match, Shane Douglas is no longer going to be in TNA. This is no question. You know what's going to happen in here. Christopher Daniels is going to win this match. And the main reason why TNA wanted to have Shane Douglas return and Raven return was to kind of have some of the familiar faces that were around in TNA's heyday during their early years. And since this is the Slammiversary pay-per-view, 7-year TNA anniversary, they kind of wanted to have some familiar faces like a Raven, like a Shane Douglas, that were in TNA during the early years. So that's the main reason why they were brought back. Shane Douglas, this would be just a one-shot deal with him. He'll be done from right here right now. Daniels will go over in this match, and definitely do want to see Shane Douglas no longer in TNA. Now, Raven, on the other hand, I will not have a huge problem if TNA keeps him around, because I think Raven, he's probably in one of the best shape he's been in a long time, and he's still a good performer, and he's still enjoyable, and plus he could be a good guy to help be around to help some of the younger stars to develop their mic skills, because a lot of them desperately need that. Then the next matchup will be Abyss and Taylor Wilde versus Daphne and Raven in a Monsters Ball intergender match. And this should be a good match right here. I'm kind of looking forward to this, because I know Abyss and Raven, they can work good together. I like Daphne a lot. And Taylor Wilde, over the last year, she's improved a good deal. So this should be actually a good mixed tag match here with Monster Ball stipulation, with the hardcore stipulations. That's really going to help out with Raven and Abyss. They should do, a lot of, they'll probably, have some thumbtacks get involved, maybe a table, a couple chairs, stuff like that. And should be overall somewhat of an enjoyable type of brawl right here, and it should be enjoyable. And I see in this match, I do see Abyss and Taylor Wilde going over in this match. Then the next matchup will be for the TNA Knockouts Women's Championship. This will be defending champion Angelina Love versus Tara, aka Victoria. And this match should be enjoyable. I gotta say, Angelina Love, she might not be the best in-ring worker, but her overall character that she has with the beautiful people is very enjoyable. And Victoria, aka Tara, is probably easily one of my favorite women's competitors going today. Up there, with Gail Kim, Sarah Del Rey, and Sarah Stock. So definitely, I will not have a problem if she goes over in this match, but I think it will be too quick to just go ahead and throw the Knockouts Championship on Tara, aka Victoria, on her pay-per-view debut. I think it'd be much better if Tara kind of, chases after the Women's Championship and does it that way. And 2 to 3 months down the line, either at the August pay-per-view or the September pay-per-view, have that pay-per-view be when she defeats Angelina Love, because Angelina Love hasn't had the title that long, so you kind of want to have her at least have a good, somewhat lengthy and title reign that at least makes seem like the Knockouts Championship isn't just a title where you're going to have it change every month or 2 months. So you kind of want to develop her a little more. So you don't want to have Tara go over in this match, even though I wouldn't have a gripe with it because I like Victoria a lot. But I think it'd be much rather better if Angelina Love goes over in this match. I do see her going over and keeping a hold of the Knockouts Championship. Then the next matchup will be for the TNA World Tag Team Championships, Beer Money Incorporated of James Storm and Robert Roode versus Team 3D. And these two teams have decent matches between each other before. Some other people liked it a whole lot more than I did. This should be a okay match here. I see Beer Money going over here, winning the TNA World Tag Team Championships. Definitely, Beer Money is one of those tag teams that definitely need to stay together. Because in my opinion, James Storm and Robert Roode, they obviously work a whole lot better as a tag team than they ever have as singles competitors, and have this tag team run as long as you possibly could, because I think, it's getting over with the fans with the whole, beer money chant and stuff like that, and, their merchandise, and their overall enjoyable type characters and gimmicks that TNA has, and have them go over this match, and that's what I do see happen. I do see Beer Money Inc. Winning this match and becoming the new TNA World Tag Team Champions. Then the next matchup will be Sting versus the Blueprint Matt Morgan. If Matt Morgan's able to go over this match and defeat Sting, he'll be able to join the main event Mafia. Even though there's a chance that could possibly happen, I don't see it happen. I see Sting going over in this match, even though it will not shock me if Matt Morgan goes over, because it seems like something TNA would almost do, especially since they're very high on Matt Morgan. But I think, have Sting go over this match. How much long? I mean, the main event Mafia thing, how much longer do you want to have it run out for? And are you going to add more members like NWO did? So it's obviously Sting's going to go over in this match. It's just like the Christopher Daniels and Shane Douglas match. Both of those are pretty much guaranteed who's probably going to go over this match, even though in the Sting and Matt Morgan match it wouldn't be out of TNA's realm if they actually would book it in a way where Matt Morgan actually goes over in the match. Then the next matchup will be the main event for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship in a King of the Mountain match. And the King of the Mountain match, I think, is a very original idea. It's kind of like a reverse ladder match, and I think it works out. When you see it for the first time, some people might be like, oh, okay, this is kind of a little cheesy, corny match right here, but I think it has worked out for TNA ever since they started doing it back in 2004, before they even had the monthly pay-per-views. They did it on one of their weekly pay-per-views back in May of 2004, and I think it works out for TNA. It's one of those type of matches that I think is a little original, and it works out. And in this match right here, it's Mick Foley versus Jeff Jarrett versus AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe versus Kurt Angle, and this should be a good match right here. Not a fan of Jeff Jarrett, but Jeff Jarrett's overall good in-ring worker. Mick Foley's really the only one in here that isn't a good worker at all, or is way past his prime and cannot really do much right now. Obviously, Mick Foley is going to lose the TNA World Championship in this match. I see either AJ Styles or Kurt Angle winning this match, and I'm going with AJ Styles winning the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. I think it's well over deserved for AJ Styles to finally get a TNA World Heavyweight title. He hasn't had that TNA World Heavyweight title since back in May of 2005 when he defeated Jeff Jarrett at the I think it was Sacrifice pay-per-view back then. And this is like if he wins the title here, this would be actually the first time that AJ Styles has actually held the World Heavyweight Championship since TNA has got on Spike TV. So definitely, I think it's a good thing. Have AJ Styles go into the match, and that's what I'm hoping for. Like I said, I see either AJ Styles or Kurt Angle winning this match, since Joe's obviously going to be taking some time off very soon to heal up from a little injuries that he has suffered. So I see AJ Styles win this match. So overall, this looks like it could possibly be a good pay-per-view from TNA. Not pay-per-view that I'm really going to say is a must-buy as far as the card looks, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a bad pay-per-view. So yeah, that's it. Peace. These matches where it's like some veterans in most of the matches, then young stars on the other side. So if they book it in a way where a lot of the young stars actually, not only do they get showcased very good, but they actually go over in the matches, that could be very good for TNA. Now, the first match will be the King of the Mountain match for the X Division Championship. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is my TNA Slammiversary 2009 pay-per-view predictions. The pay-per-view is live tomorrow night exclusively on pay-per-view. And like I said, overall, for a TNA pay-per-view, this does not look like a bad card at all. Just as long as they book a lot of the matches in a good way, this could possibly be a very successful and a very good pay-per-view for TNA. And what I mean by if they book it right, where they got a lot of these matches, just like the other King of the Mountain, the rules are the same. But if they're not, just someone type in a comment saying that, this X Division match right here for the X Division Championship and the King of the Mountain is different type of rules than the other King of the Mountain. Because that's the one thing I'm kind of somewhat confused with, is it the same type of rules or it's different type of rules for the X Division one than the world title. But the suicide gimmick is good, and it's not a terrible gimmick for TNA, but I think most people would much rather see, Cass come back and be himself and just get rid of this suicide gimmick, or just give it to someone else. And I see in this match, I do see Suicide retaining the X Division Championship, just because pretty much it's going to, and the people that are in this match is Suicide versus Jay Lethal versus Consequences Creed versus Alex Shelley versus Chris Sabin. And this should be very good. You got 5 good competitors in here. Well, you got 4 definitely good competitors in here, because I actually am one of the very few people that doesn't mind Consequences Creed, and I do think he is improving. Suicide, the person that's under